What's up guys, it's Megan, you another deck for Link Evolution. Today guys, it is a Toon deck. The deck of the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself, Maximilian Pegasus. Please bear in mind, this deck is as best as I think I can make it because it's not that the Toons are like bad, yeah, they could be better, but the only downside about them is it's like a gimmick. Same with like the Fur Highest, where like for the Fur Highest it was, if all you had to do was like prevent a special summon, you prevented the whole thing from playing. For Toons, it's the fact that all apart from one, which is Toon Dark Magician Girl, all of them can't attack on the turn they're summoned, which kind of does hurt the deck a bit. It's like you spam them out and you're not really going to use them, like, unless you're going to wait a turn. So apart from that, that really does hurt the deck a little bit, but we have got some nice Xyz plays and nice Xyz and Link plays to kind of make up the difference. This deck's of course my own opinion at the end of the day, and it's completely cool if you guys disagree with any of the cards shown in the video. And as always guys, we are continuing the deck list, which means the next deck will be a cubic deck, and so on and so forth. So stay tuned for that if you enjoyed this deck. If you're struggling to make this deck or any deck shown so far, I highly recommend guys you check out the card hub. Not if they tell you what card is in this game or not, tell you where to find it, such as campaign, challenge mode, or a card pack that does include the new cards added via their update. That is in the description down below, along with my Twitch. I do try and stream this game on whatever free time I have. Where make decks there you might see for this channel, or we pretty much just use the decks I've made doing some rank matches. So stay tuned for that guys if you have the time. And with that, let's get into the video. Apart from Infinite Impermanence guys, we're not running any other hand traps, just because in my personal opinion this deck is already tight as it is. To try and make it kind of decent, the last thing you want to do is to just keep drawing in your hand traps. Like if the deck was like what's the word I'm trying to think of, consistent enough to run, you could maybe add them in, but because a lot of the things either rely on having a field spell in play or the right monsters, it's kind of a bit tricky as it is. So starting us off is 2 copies of Eater of Millions. The reason I'm running this is because you've got like a lot, like it gains 100 attack points for each face down banish card. So Tomb Kingdom banishes cards face down, so Tomb Kingdom can just power Eater of Millions. Also, Tomb Kingdom has an effect where you can, if your 2 monster would be destroyed or battled by a card effect, you banish a face down card from the top of your deck. So you see what I mean? It just powers up Eater of Millions fantastically. Eater of Millions, upon being summoned, like in order to summon it, you have to banish 5 cards from your extra deck or your hand. So that means you can banish some of the cards we are running in the extra deck should you not need it. Also, if you've got like dead cards in your hand, you can just discard them as well if you want. He cannot be used for Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz summon, but because he's a level 1, you can use him to go into Link Karibo if you so desire. If this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish that monster face down, and that is before damage step, so you can get over a lot of pesky cards. And because it doesn't have anything of the words banish or destroy, because it hasn't got the words target or destroy, it gets around a lot of cards that says cannot be targeted by card effects or cannot be destroyed by card effects, so it just banishes them flat out. Then on to some Toons. We are running 2 copies of Red Eyes Toon Dragon, in my opinion the best in the deck, and that's the only reason why is because it has specifically got the words Red Eyes in its name. Because it's got Red Eyes in its name, it is searchable with the Black Stone of Legend. So this bad boy, he can actually use his effects without having, or actually I think a few of them can actually have their effects without having Tomb Kingdom or Tomb World on the field. So that's why he's kind of better than like the older ones like Tomb Mermaid for instance. So once per turn, this bad boy can special summon 1 Toon from your hand. Realistically, you would like to special summon Dark Magician because then you're able to go into rank 7 plays. But if needs be, you can special summon like Mass Sorcerer, or you can special summon Tomb Mermaid and get around her effect. So there is stuff you can do, and if you haven't got the Eater of Millions play, it just makes life easier to go into like higher links like IP Masquerade or other cards if you want, or Nightmare Phoenix if you wanted to pop like opponent's cards or stuff like that. But in my opinion, he is actually the best one. And then we've got 3 copies of the Black Stone of Legend. Dark attribute works better for Allure of Darkness, so does the Red Eyes. You contribute this, especially when 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck. Again, because the Toon version of Red Eyes has the word Red Eyes in its name, it's searchable with this card. And also, if this card is in the graveyard, you contribute. So you can return it to your hand and target a Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, return it to the deck. However, you can't play both effects in the same turn, otherwise this card would be broken. So if you are going to add this card back to your hand and return the Red Eyes to your deck, please bear in mind you can't summon out the Red Eyes on the same turn. But this card is just great for so many plays. Then we are running 2 copies of Toon Cyber Dragon. I've seen people even run, but in my opinion, 2 is just too good to pass up. The reason why, you can use it with Instant Fusion to go into Infinity plays, or because it has Cyber Dragon in its name, you can use it as like a kaiju. So you just summon it to the field because its effect hasn't triggered. Its effect is you can, just like the original Cyber Dragon, you can special summon it from your hand should you control no monsters your opponent does. But because if your opponent is controlling a Link monster, you can use this dragon and your opponent's Link and go into Mega Fleet, which is basically a free kaiju. It just gets around cards that says cannot be destroyed by battle by card effects. Like for instance, like Avimax, it could get around Bowl Sword, Banshee. It can get around a lot of pesky Links because it's not targeting. It just sends them to the graveyard. Then we've got 2 copies of Toon Dark Magician. You might say, well, am I not running 3? I find the problem with this deck is the last thing you want is to have, like for instance, if your hand is Dark Magician, Red Eyes, and just 3 dead cards. You can't normal summon anything because the Toon cards cannot special summon themselves from the hand, even if you have Toon Kingdom in play. So the last thing you want is to open up a hand with like 2 Red Eyes and 3 Dark Magicians, because you will literally just be like, yep, can't do anything now. So that's why I've kind of kept him to 2 to try and make space for other cards. So again, all the Toons, I did forget to say this, that all the Toons have an effect where majority of them can't attack the turn they're summoned, but they can attack directly should your opponent not have a Toon monster. So if they survive to the next turn, they can just go for the direct attack. So this bad boy is actually kind of decent because you can discard 1 Toon card you control, or 1 Toon card in your hand, sorry, and activate one of these 2 effects. Where you can either add a Toon spell or trap from your deck to your hand, like Toon Kingdom, Shadow Toon, or Toon Tablet of Contents. The only ones we're running. Or you can special summon a Toon monster from your deck. So should you just get out Toon Dark Magician, you can able to go into the Red Eyes to go into a Link 7 play, or any other monster to just go into a higher Link. And then 1 copy of Toon Dark Magician Girl. I think she's actually one of the best Toons in this one of the best Toons there is, because she's the only Toon that can attack on the turn she's summoned. Also, she cannot be special summoned from the she's not special summoned except from the hand by tributing a monster. So if you like normal summon Toon Gemini Elf or Chaos, or your Chaos Sorcerer, or is it Chaos Sorcerer? Toon Mass Sorcerer, you could just tribute it to special summon Dark Magician Girl. Really comes in handy, and that's pretty much the only reason you run her, because you're not gonna, because she still has the effect where she gains 300 attack for each Dark Magician. You're never gonna play that effect, so you only use her just to have like a 2k beat stick, really. 1 copy of Toon Gemini Elf. It's a normal summon you can use even without Toon World. It has an effect where this card, if this card attacks your opponent directly, it inflicts if this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can discard 1 card from your opponent's hand. Kind of be decent, especially if your opponent wants like cards in the hand. But again, because it's a level 4, you could go into like rank 4 plays if you're running certain rank 4s. I know I'm not, because I've got a different rank 4 in the deck. But you could use her to, like, say, go into Toon Dark Magician Girl easier, or just for searchable with your deck. And also, because she has the word Toon in the name, you can protect her with Toon Kingdom. And then 2 copies of Toon Mass Sorcerer. Now, a lot of people might hate me on this, saying, oh, why are you not running 3? Why are you not running 3? He's only decent if you have if you have Toon Kingdom, because just like the other Toons cannot attack the turn he's summoned, he does have an effect where if this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you get to draw 1 card, which is actually pretty decent. The only downside is he has 900 attack points, so he will just get steamrolled over near enough by everything unless you have Toon Kingdom on the field to protect it. So that's the only reason I kept it at 2. By that all means, that only means we have like 6 normal summons in the whole deck, but and the rest are like pretty much special summons. But trust me when you like trying to special summon the last, like it comes in. This guy will come in handy, but same time he's not the best thing in the world. That's the only reason I kept him at 2. And then 3 copies of Toon Mermaid. The reason why I'm running 3 is because if you have Toon World on the field or Toon Kingdom, you can special summon this card from your hand, and that's a not once per turn. The only downside I can think about this card is you need the field spell in order to summon it. Unless you get around its effect with Red Eyes Toon Dragon, or you get around the effect with or you get around the effect with Toon Dark Magician. But because it's a Toon, you can discard it with Toon Dark Magician even if it's in your hands. The only reason you run it, and again because it's a level 4 water monster, you're going to use it to go into Behemoth Shark. And then on to the magics, guys. 2 Allure of Darkness. Majority of our cards are darks. I think like the Chaos, like the 2 Mass Sorcerers of Dark, the Dark Magician, the Dark Magician Girl, all the Darkstone of Legends, the Red Eyes, and the Eater of Millions are all lights. So majority of our monsters are light attributes. That's the reason you want, dark attributes. That's the reason you're going to play it. Draw them 2 cards. It could be vital. 3 copies of Caught by the Grave. It's there to stop hand traps. So for instance, if you do try and summon your Red Eyes, it will stop you from it will stop your opponent from like Ash Blossoming it. You could like if your opponent, I don't know, tries to resurrect cards from the graveyard, banish them. It's just great just to stop hand traps and stuff like that. Instant fusion, guys. With this, we are able to go into Thousand Eyes Restrict to steal one of your opponent's monsters, and also as Thousand Eyes Restrict, you can potential Pegasus. Also, you're able to go into Panzer Dragon, and able to go even to help you go into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Also, if you just want, say if you got nothing, and your opponent's got cards, just play Thousand Eyes Restrict, steal one of their monsters, and you can just go into Anima, steal another opponent's monster, or you can go to Link Rebo. So even if you can't play cards, this will come in handy. And then 1 copy of Mind Control. I did run 2. I decided to take it out to run the Eater of Millions. You can target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control of it. That's actually kind of decent because if it's a Link monster, you can like use it to go into higher links yourself, or if it's like level 5, use it with your Cyber Dragon, go into a rank 5 play. If it happens to be a level 4 water monster, use it with your Mermaid, go into your Behemoth Shark. You see what I mean? It's just there to just it gets around your opponent's pesky cards, and you're able to use it to go into link plays because it can't be you can't attack with it, so you're just going to use it and then link summon it away with it. Then it's off the field really. It's the only reason you're running it. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, combo extender. If you need be, you can do it. In the replay, especially I think it's the last one, you will see I could have actually gone into Nightmare Phoenix, which I think I did. No, I think I went to IP Masquerade instead. I could have gone into Nightmare Phoenix and discard a card, then play the Monster Reborn to resurrect like my Red Eyes. I didn't do that play because I only thought of it after I summoned out Masquerena. So yeah, that's the reason why Monster Reborn can come in handy. Then 1 copy of 1 for 1. You send 1 monster in your hand to the graveyard, special a level 1 monster from your deck. So this 1 card brings out the Black Stone of Legend. So then in turn lets you special summon a Red Eyes Toon Dragon. And or from just sending a monster to your hand. So say if you've got 2 Mermaid in your hand, which is dead anyway, get her out of the field, you don't care. 2 copies of Shadow Toon. Now the reason I'm running this is because yes, I am saying a lot of the time you need a field spell, but with this card, because it's got the word Toon in its name, so it's searchable with Toon Table of Contents, and we are running 5 cards, well, the 3 copies of the field spell and 2 cards to search out the field spell, so we're kind of running like 5 field spells. If you control Toon World or Toon Kingdom, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack point. So it's pretty much just a straight-up burn card. That's the only reason I'm running it, just because it's searchable, it does a lot of damage, and that's pretty much it. And you can still normal summon, special summon, do everything you want. It's just there for free damage. One copy of Terraforming, you can just add Toon Kingdom to your hand, and that's pretty much all I can say for it, guys. And speaking of which, the card that sets it all off, 3 copies of Toon Kingdom, the upgraded version of Toon World and just 10 times better. So when this card is activated, you banish 3 cards from the top of your deck face down, which helps our Eater of Millions. Your opponent cannot target Toons you control with card effects, so it does give your Toons a little bit of protection, which is actually kind of great. And also, if a Toon monster you control will be destroyed by battle or by card effects, you can banish 1 card from the top of your deck face down for each of those monsters. So should your opponent play, I don't know, a Mirror Force or a Regeki when you've got 2 Toons on the field, you have to banish 2 cards because obviously you've got 2 of them, not just 1. A quick thing to know, if you play this with Metaverse, you actually get around the banish 3 cards on the top of your deck activation cost. You just because with Metaverse you just activate it, boom, throw in the field. You don't have to banish the top 3 cards. And then 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents. You instantly get to add any Toon from your deck to your hand. That does include itself because it does have the word Toon in its name. So you could mill out your deck, but it literally will just search out anything you want. Search like Shadow Toon, Toon Kingdom if you're missing that. It can all of your Toon monsters. It's just fantastic. Going on to the traps, you're owning 3 copies of Infinite Impertinence. It is a hand trap to stop your opponent from activating monster effects from the hand should you control no cards. Also, if you set it, you can again target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negate effect. Also, should your opponent activate a spell or trap in that column, its effects are negated. Also, if they have a continuous spell or trap in that column, its effects are also negated for a turn. So it really comes in handy, and I just find stopping monster effects can be key. And then 1 copy of Metaverse is just basically the trap version of Terraforming, but instead of Terraforming where you just add it to your hand, this card can automatically activate it, or you can just add the field spell to your hand. Now you might be thinking, why am I not running Toon Briefcase? I don't mind that, but I just don't feel it's worth it, because you have to control the Toon in order to activate Toon Briefcase, and sometimes, especially depending on hands, you might not have a Toon on the field. Especially, for instance, if the only 2 monsters you have, you can get out are 2 level 7 monsters, the Dark Magician and the Red Eyes. 9 times out of 10, you particularly don't really want to just leave them on the field. You might want to exceed some of them into Flare Dragon to burn your opponents and stuff. So that's the main reason why I don't run Toon Briefcase. Going on to the extra deck, guys, I'm running Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. You use it with your Toon Cyber Dragons and use it as like think of it as an extra deck kaiju. So you use your Cyber Dragon plus 1 monster in the extra monster card zone that your opponent has, or one that you have. You could also do. Then you basically go into this card, and this card will gain 1,200 attack points for each number of the materials. So with just this one. So this one card's base attack will be 2,400 attack points, and that's great getting over an opponent's Link monster. We are running 1 copy of Panzer Dragon. It is a level 5 monster, so you're able to go into so you are able to use it to go into Cyber Dragon Nova, then Infinity with Toon Cyber Dragon. Then Thousand Eyes Restrict, this card, and I forgot to say the Panzer Dragon are instant fusion targets. So with this card, with instant fusion, you can steal one of your opponent's monsters. Then you could link summon it away into Link Karibo if they have no other monsters, or should they have a monster that's face up like above the extra monster card zone, you could link summon this card away into Thousand Eyes Anima, and then or is it Relinquish Anima? Relinquished Anima, and then you're able to steal another card your opponent has. They just steal your opponent's cards, and that's the main reason you're running it. Then onto some Xyz monsters. Rather than 1 copy of Behemoth Shot, by all means you could take this and the Totally Awesome out if you want, and you could run cards like Babushka if you want to, especially for better rank 4 plays. I just ran Behemoth Shot because it's because you need 2 level 4 monsters should you get two mermaids on the field, or if you steal one level 4 water with your mind control, you can special summon this, and you use 1 Xyz material to special summon Totally Awesome from your extra deck, and you just go off from there. Just gives you a free negate pretty much. Then Cyber Dragon Infinity, you're gonna special summon this card by going into Nova. So with Nova, your two level 5 monsters, then you go in. Then you can overlay Nova to go into Infinity. Then Infinity will gain 200 attack points for each material attached to it. You can target one face-up monster on the field. That does include cards on your opponent's side on the field. Attach it to Infinity. Again, it will gain 200 more attack points. But when your opponent activates a monster effect, a spell, or a trap, you can negate that activation. So this is a on-field Omni Negate that can activate during either player's turn. Absolutely fantastic. One copy of Big Eye, one of the best generic rank 7s there is, because you can detach one exceeds material from this card, target one monster your opponent controls, and take control of it. The only downside is Big Eye cannot attack the same turn, but if you can steal one of your opponent's monsters, especially a powerful monster, it's worth the trade-off. And you go into this by going into Toon Dark Magician and Toon Red Eyes Toon Dragon. Then one copy of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Again, you need the Toon Dark Magician and the Red Eyes Dragon, or you could just either one. Or both if you haven't managed to get both on the field. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects as long as it has an Exceeds material, so it's kind of got some protection like Toon Kingdom has. And every time should your opponent activate a card or an effect, you inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent, which is absolute beast. You can't activate its other effects, but just to keep burning your opponent for 500 points of damage every time they do stuff, especially against a combo deck, your opponent will just keep losing life points all the time. Then one copy of Totally Awesome. You special summon it with Behemoth Shark. Once per turn during the standby phase. Oh, we can't use that effect. But during your other player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, you can send one Aqua monster that basically itself to the graveyard to negate that monster effect. And if you do, you get to set it to your side of the field. So that's the only reason you're going to run it. And also if this card's sent to the graveyard, you can target a water monster in your grave. So because you have to send an Exceeds of Behemoth Shark to summon go into this, you're going to get your 2 mermaid from your graveyard that you detached back to your hand. Main reason you're going to run it. On some links, guys, you're running one copy of Bowl Sword Dragon, In my opinion, one of the best ones here. It cannot be destroyed in battle. Quick effect, you can target one monster that's in attack mode, switch it to defense mode. That does include it also on your opponent's turn. If you do, this card can attack twice during that turn, and if this card attacks into a monster, it gains that monster's attack, so it can get over the mighty Chaos Max Dragon. IP Masquerena, you can, especially if you've got like special on a lot of boards and you can't go into stuff, especially because all your tunes cannot attack on the turn is summoned, you can go into IP Masquerena, and then you're able to, especially if you've nicked one card your opponent has, you can use that card to go to help you go into IP Masquerena. So during either player's main phase, you can link summon using this card, and that is a quick effect. Also, the monster summoned via IP Masquerena's effect cannot be destroyed by hard effects. And you're going to use this to go into Nightmare Unicorn, because Nightmare Unicorn can bounce an opponent's card on the field back to the deck, and again it will just give it some protection, and you're going to use that for like interrupt your opponent's plays. Then one copy of Nightmare Phoenix and the Unicorn. So the Nightmares have an effect, we have to discard a card in order to activate the effect. So when Nightmare Phoenix is summoned, you can discard a card, destroy one spell trap your opponent controls. It's just there to kind of get rid of back row cards. And then as for Unicorn, like I just mentioned, you're going to discard it, target one card on the field, bounce it back into the deck. Because you're going to use it during your opponent's turn, you can just interrupt their play, especially if you're going to do like a key combo, get rid of it. And because you're going to summon it with IP Masquerena's effect, it's going to get some form of protection. Then we're running one copy of Link Karibo. It's there to go into, should you only, like if you do misplay and you've only got your red eye, your black stone of legend, you can go into it with Link Karibo or with 1,000 dice restrict. If you use it with instant fusion, if your opponent only has one monster in the field and you can't summon out any monsters, at least you can go into Link Karibo. And then one copy of Relinquished Anima. You can use it using either the Blackstone of Legend or 1,000 dice restrict. You can target one face-up monster this card points to, equip it to it. So it has to be a monster like above the main monster or above the extra monster card zone, but you could just steal it. Depending if like, your opponent's got 2 monsters, you can go into 1,000 dice strip, steal the one that's obviously not above the extra monster card zone, then Exceed summon it into Anima. Anima then steals the other one. You can steal 2 cards your opponent has with just like 1 instant fusion. It's actually pretty sweet. And that's it for the deck, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. Again, by all means, this is not like the best competitive build. I've actually struggled with Toons because, again, they're kind of like fur hires. There's just that one little restriction which just hurts them. And that restriction for the Toons is the fact that they can't attack the turn they're summoned. It really gives your opponent a free turn in a way. So that's the only downside. But if you, by all means, you could change it around or comment down below and we'll see what you guys think. To change it or anything. And with that, guys, I do hope you enjoyed the replays. And with that, I'm going to say farewell from me. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed the deck. And wherever you are in the world, take care and goodbye.